Today we are chatting with Reverend Professor Philip Hughes, someone who has spent a huge part of his life exploring what gives people purpose, connection and meaning. Philip's work with the Christian Research Association has recently looked closely at how people, especially retirees, find meaning in a world that's changing fast, particularly as traditional ideas around community evolve. It's such an important topic, and Philip has some fascinating insights to share. Welcome to Monday Matters. I'm Ian Bunston. Philip, welcome, and it's great to have you join us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian.
Philip, let's start off with this question about meaning. What type of impact does having meaning in our life make to us?
It certainly makes us feel better about life in a sense. We're most aware of the lack of meaning rather than having meaning. So if something really happens to us that like the death of a partner, for example, we can really feel empty and but meaning is important even when we're not aware of it. It creates resilience, certainly in times when life is difficult. It gives us a sense of direction, or it is a sense of direction. It has there's been a lot of research in terms of its impact on health and mental health and physical health. And certainly there's good evidence to show that if people who've got a stronger sense of meaning have it does have a significant impact both on physical and mental health. It actually reduces anxiety, it reduces stress to some extent, and certainly helps us to overcome depression and anxiety. It's interesting, there's a lot of research being done in China at the moment on meaning and the impact that it's having there. And they're doing a lot of work in hospitals with patients with different sorts of conditions and so on, and seeking to show what the significance of having a set of meaning in life has for people.
So it's no doubt that meaning in life is significant, and it's very, very beneficial if you've got that. So moving to the next question is that what actually, Phil, is meaning in life?
And there's been a whole lot of work done fairly recently on that. One of the people who's written significantly on meaning in life recently is Tatjana Schnell. She's a psychologist. She works in Innsbruck in the university there. She's Austrian. She also actually works in a theological college in Oslo, in Norway. So she seems to flit between the two. You can do that in Europe. Um, she wrote a book called The Psychology of Meaning in Life, and she has taken quite a significant role in working out how to measure meaning and what is involved in it. She identifies four different dimensions of meaning and says that all of these four dimensions are important. The first one there is having some direction in life, some sense of purpose. And this boils down in the concrete terms to having some goals to work towards. And for most people these days, that has a lot to do with what gives us a sense of fulfillment. Personal fulfillment is a very general value and it's that which gives us fulfillment, gives us purpose, and has to do with our directions. Second thing is having coherence in those directions. So meaning isn't there if you've got purpose, several different forms of purpose, but going in different directions. So coherence is important. The third thing is a sense of belonging. And it can be a generalized sense, certainly in Tatjana Schnell's work, it can be a generalized sense of belonging to a group, belonging, having a sense of identity. It can be sort of being a member, I guess, of a football club or something. On the other hand, it can also mean belonging to a small group and place where you belong, family, for example. Um, and feeling usually within that context, that one has significance. Now, there's been some further work done recently which has said that divided between two types of belonging and significance. Um, those who talk about that in interpersonal terms, so belonging in a group where we're recognized and where we feel that we can contribute. But it can also be in a sort of more cosmic sense. Um, so one particular research team in the States has recently done some analysis looking at what they call the importance of cosmic meaning over against interpersonal meaning. And both of them can have significance and give us a sense of belonging. So for some people, some religious people, so having a sense of belonging to God and having significance through that is part of it. For other people, it's much more a matter of the groups that we belong to. Now, the second psychology that comes in here is what's been called the psychology of mattering. And Gordon Flett wrote a book with that title about 7 years ago now, and it's been taken up in various ways since his time. Mattering means that you matter to people, that you are valued by others, and that you feel that you can give value. So meaning comes about when through those interactions where we feel that we matter, where we feel that we are valued, and that we feel that we can give value. So they're the dimensions of meaning.
So, Philip, you've done some recent research at the Christian Research Association looking at meaning in life amongst retirees. Now, I'm sure we've got lots of retirees listening in today. Tell us about it, and were there any common themes that emerged from this group?
Yes, yes, certainly. So behind it lies this whole issue that there's a lot of people without much social connection in our world, and particularly in developed countries. This is a notable thing, less than there's been in the past. A lot of organizations are finding it hard to get members. So if you go, I go along regularly to show films to the senior citizens in the local area. They are finding it hard to get people to come along. People over 80, they're there. People under 80 are not so interested. So we were trying to look in our research at why some people have connections, what in fact makes meaningful social connections. And certainly we did these interviews right across Eastern Australia. We had 7 people involved in doing the research, and in different states, Queensland and New South Wales and Victoria, ACT, and males and females doing it. And we followed up people through a whole range of different organisations and so on. And so wide variety of people. What we found was that most people really did value the meaning that arose out of small groups. And even in terms of people who are connected with the church, they didn't talk so much about the church itself, They talked about the small group in the church that gave them a sense of meaning. Um, but we talked to many people in various groups and activities, from bonsai groups to golf clubs and so on. And it was this matter of being a group in a group where they were recognized and where they felt that their even their presence contributed to the group. So that was the key thing that came out of it. Now we're exploring a whole lot of dimensions of this, including, for example, the how digital groups work as against person-to-person groups and so on. But the key thing was the importance of these groups. What we found was that there's a catalyst which usually brings people together into a group, and that has to do with those basic directions and purposes, the things that really interest us. And then it's the social connections that keep people involved and keep people going. And I think part of the story is that just entertaining people, as some of the groups have done in the past, is not engaging people so much these days. People want something that's actually going to add to their lives in terms of their physical health, in terms of their mental health, mental well-being, that allows them to explore their passions and interests.
So I'm just interested in this group, the 60s to 70s group, who seem to be connecting as well as the 80 and plus group. Can you drill down on that? Can you see a particular reason for that?
I think there's several things going on there. I think part of it is that a lot of 70-year-olds have quite good health. They're able to do a lot of traveling. They're interested in flexibility more than and don't want to sort of confine themselves to um, particular things where they've got a commitment, an ongoing commitment. Sometimes a lot of them have got significant grandparenting responsibilities. But on the other hand, my suspicion is that people under 80, so this is the boomer generation, um, have developed very strongly this sense of I need to find the thing that really works for me. And that's not always easy for them. So they're not so interested in the generalized group. They're not so interested in the coming in the 70s, certainly, to the service groups, the Lions and Rotary and so on, that had attracted a lot of people in the past. Some who've joined them many years before are still finding great fulfillment through those groups, but they're not attracting new people in the 70s so much.
Hmm. It's an interesting discussion in many ways because I would say that the likes of a Hugh McKay would talk about, say, serving and getting a great deal of fulfillment through actually volunteering, serving, getting involved. But then it seems like from the themes that you're presenting that people are more reluctant during these recent times to get too much committed to an organisation or a group.
Some people are. Some people are reluctant to commit themselves. I think, and what we found, some people who were just anxious to find some way they could serve. Um, the majority of people were looking for specific ways to serve that suited their own interests. So the person who'd been involved in a chess club for a lot of his life became a tournament leader and adjudicator and so on. So very happy to serve in that way. But was not looking to sort of for a general service club, as it were. Um, People in a movie makers club, for example, are very happy to help in making movies for other groups or for particular purposes and so on. But that doesn't mean that they actually want to join a service organisation as such.
Mm. And look, Phil, our time's starting to run out, but I do have one more question. It's a fairly broad one. I noted that in your survey, in the 60% of the interviewees that I think attended church. Um, was there any, and 40% didn't. So, was there any theme that emerged in light of declining church attendance in Australia and, say, more broadly, the Western world?
One of the things that we did note was that while some people find a great deal of meaning within the church context, there are others who didn't. There was quite a few people who said that they went along, but really it wasn't all that important to them. Um, there was one or two people we asked, well, if you had to give up things, what would you give up? And several of them said they'd give up the church. Um, and my sense is that there's a lot of churches which actually are not recognizing people personally, or they don't provide the opportunities for those deeper social connections to occur that continue to give meaning at that sort of level. Most of the people who found great meaning in the church were those who were actually involved in groups within the church that were giving them that sort of meaning. Some of those were mission groups, some were Bible study or prayer groups. There were some who were involved in meditation of various forms and so on. But it's important, I think, if churches are actually going to provide a sense of meaning for people of this age group, that they're actually providing smaller groups of people who can support each other at that very personal level.
Mm.
Going into a church where you're not necessarily welcomed by name and so on just doesn't do it.
Mm. And maybe that whole theme is incumbent upon us all, those people that do attend church. I guess it can't be just left up to fully just the leaders, but all the congregation in terms of making a real intent, effort to connect with all those people that are there, particularly those that are new, those that are visitors. And I think that goes for any organisation. People need to feel connected, need to feel noticed, don't they? And need to feel like they're viable, they can offer a contribution, and so that they get a sense of belonging. Philip, it's been wonderful chatting with you this morning. Thanks for your insights. Thanks for your research. You've been doing it for many, many years, and it's extremely valuable. And we really appreciate you being our guest here at Monday Matters this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.